Welcome, everybody. You know what time it is? It's the mid-season special. Hey, Brock, you're back.
I'm back on a week off, bye week, coming in fresh.
Back in the number 2 seat. Caleb's not even here. He just gave up all of his momentum.
We got a little upgrade.
Is right. Because as you can hear,
Let's go.
Dirty Dave, representing the boys, is here on the mid-season show.
Our collective push-ups that we can do between the three hosts went up substantially.
You're so right.
You bet.
That going for us.
What is Caleb, like a 4?
3,
Nice.
4.
Yeah,
6,
7.
Yeah. You got about 30 in you, Corf.
I remember when I could do a quick
I mean,
40 with Dave,
quick
and now
40.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if I could do 10.
I'm like
So-
25 maybe.
Yeah. Let's just spend the next hour talking about how many push-ups we can do.
Let's do curl-ups. I got 1, 2. Let's go 2. I could do 2.
1.5.
1.5. Triple digits.
Then I pull.
Oh.
Oh man.
Yeah, fantasy football.
Yeah. So that's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, what I'm thinking for this is we're just we're gonna go over the week 7 games because those are all important, but we want to really tailor it to the mid-season like recap and where we're going from here because it's a big point of the season. It's teams kind of know what they are at this point, and moves are going to start to be made now, and playoff pictures are going to get clearer. So it's exciting time in Webb, year 5, baby. So starting off, I actually do have some notes this week. Game of the week. It was a tight race, but Tim won his like 5th out of 7 game of the week. So he's like trying to set records this year for that. But yeah, Tim and I in the interconference game of the week, Tim was victorious, had his best week of the season, 3rd week high in his franchise's illustrious history.
Well, you're calling it illustrious.
Yeah, or just
You got zeked, man.
Right. Yeah.
You got so zeked.
I got zeked. You're right. He should be suspended. This is honestly ridiculous.
Dude, it's lining up perfect for Tim's demise because it's gonna like happen after next week.
Yeah,
Something. As soon as that guy gets back from vacay.
dude, he's yeah.
Yeah.
So stupid. Come on. I mean, I
Yeah,
would have lost
so-
anyway, but whatever.
Mhm.
We're not going to talk about that.
Week 8, then we got
Actually,
week 9, 11, 10, 11, 12, 13.
40 less
He would be
points.
back if he got suspended after next week. He'd be back for the playoffs if Tim made it, right? Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Like
Yeah.
just in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So this was a pretty like telling game, I think, but at the same time, like me losing, I don't think is as big of a deal as Tim winning, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
Tim
Because
getting the
Tim got the win this week, which we kind of thought he was going to lose, and this was like his tough game before he goes into his Dave Josh stretch. No offense, Dave.
Yeah. Well, he needed this win before getting the Dave Josh stretch because ooh,
I mean,
look out.
Dude, I want nothing more than for Tim to just go like 1-3 in this next 4 weeks because that would be the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Probably end up in the festival foods late at night again.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that gave me a golden quote for that article though, so it's all right. But yeah, so Tim is 5-2 right now. He is currently in a playoff position, and this is not his best start ever. Surprisingly, he was 6-1 in 2013, and was a wild card playoff team that year. But I think that the story with Tim is still the fact that he's not exactly – he hasn't exactly proven that he can hang. You know, like he's still 6th in WIB right now, 4th in scoring, and that there's like a very, very distinct like 3 teams in the scoring conversation, and then it just plummets.
Just a mess of other people,
yeah, right. And it's all very close after that point, So he's still working to like separate himself, but record-wise, he's managed to
he's there.
So I mean,
he's in a good position right now.
That's
for sure.
And going into this next 4 weeks, which are theoretically winnable games for him, like he needs to, take advantage of that, obviously, because he like probably will be without Zeke. Mm-hmm. So that's, I mean, it's going to be challenging, but still.
Yeah, and looking at his schedule, like what you were saying, where he hasn't been totally like as good as his record states. Well, before this week, his week high was 156.5.
Right.
Which is pretty pedestrian.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too, is like this was the first week where he really like showed it off, Yeah. Like he beats one of the top teams in the league. He gets a week high in the process, and like now it's kind of like, all right, like this is the team we all expected to see in the preseason. But I mean, when he loses Zeke, like it's gonna, I mean, obviously his offense is going to suffer because of that, because obviously it's a premier player. He scored 40 points this week. But at the same time, I think he has this buffer now where he already is at 5 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's setting up well for him to be able to capitalize. But I mean, we're going to get to your game later, Brock, but you're the wild card in all of this right now.
Tim's kind of reminds me of the Packers, where he's going to lose his superstar here. And maybe he's closer to the playoffs than the Packers are, but where he's just kind of like not drown before the playoffs and just kind of sneak in and then get Zeke back.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't consider Tim's team such a storied franchise like the Packers.
It's kind of a pathetic history. So I think, it's all so up in the air right now, because you have teams that are 5-2 that it's just like, how are you 5-2? And then you have teams that are 2-5. Yeah. Oh, believe me, we're going to talk about Caleb. But and then you have teams that are 2-5 or 1-6 even, that it's kind of like, how is that even possible? So I mean, it's just a really like strange season so far. And honestly, it's probably one of the more unpredictable in terms of like when we get to playoff predictions later on, like you're going to see probably some weird things because of just how unsettled everything is right now.
We got parity. We got tons of parity.
Oh, yeah.
Like the opposite of the NBA.
Yeah. So my week obviously did not go well. It was my first week scoring below 160 points, which in a season like this was, it felt good, obviously, because every other team has had those weeks this year because scoring is down like almost 10 points. So, you've seen a lot more 120 games, a lot more 130 games than in the past. And obviously this week I dropped down into the 130s. But it is what it is. You're gonna have bad weeks throughout the season. It's just a matter of if you can capitalize on them or not. And obviously this week, running into the week high, I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Either way, easily been probably I'll say the best. Dan, if Dan was on, he'd probably argue with me. I'm gonna say you've been the best team so far, the most consistent team, putting up like at least 160 every week until this week, but still, like, 160, 170 per week. You're gonna make the playoffs for sure. as long as that keeps happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've run into some injuries and getting smoked with some buys in the last 2 weeks and things like that. So, I mean, if there was ever like a 2-week period of time where I thought I could drop some games, it would be this week and the upcoming week, because I have like all of my buys in that period of time. But
No, it might be good to get them out of the way here, looking at your schedule. Like we got Parker, who's struggling pretty hard right now. You got Calvin, who just made a few trades to kind of got his team down a little bit. And then by week 10, you got Dan. So hopefully you get those buys out of the way. I think that'll actually be probably pretty nice.
Yeah, what do you think, Dave?
I mean, you don't got too much to worry about. Like we said, you've been the most consistent team all year. I mean, Adrian Peterson isn't going to score 3.3 every game. Keenan Allen, Larry Fitzgerald had 7 points combined. That ain't going to happen.
Dude,
throughout.
Of course, Carson Palmer breaks his flipping arm right after I make that trade.
Oh,
I'm thinking I got that so locked and loaded, and now it's just another one of those things.
But
I just want
to
take a sec.
Juju looking good.
Dude, you got Juju on his bike.
I love that guy so much.
But yeah, what a turnaround here with this squad after kind of rebuilding at the end of last year, get some real nice timing with the Kareem Hunt trade, and you have Fournette fall to you at 3. Maybe that shouldn't have happened. But either way, you're there, made the pick. Dalvin Cook,
Get your guys.
you snipe him at 5. I think that was probably a little early, but
shut up.
But he gets hurt. But either way, like completely restocked of the running back position in one off season. Already had the receivers. Yeah. I mean, nice little off season.
I mean, yeah, it was one of those things where, like, last year I had kind of like an identity crisis where I came into the year thinking I was a contender, and I basically just by midseason I was like, I need to retool this team. Like, I need to just shed some of the weight and try to get a little bit younger. Had the brand shift, so came in to the season newly branded, and
really woke everyone up.
Yeah,
like some of the people who've been there through some of the down points probably like looked in the mirror and like, oh man, what a coach, or we'll call it a brand change, but you know what? Maybe we haven't been playing as good as we could have been. And he felt the need to do this.
Dude, it was all about changing the jerseys. They're like, God, I'm so sick of these gross Andre the Giant jerseys. I'll put on these swaggy moneymaker jerseys, and now they're just playing up to the level of Kelsey and company.
That's so disgusting to hear. Oh my God.
I love Travis. Oh my God, I love him.
Punk.
Yeah. So I mean, still leading in WIB, still leading in scoring for at the time. So yeah, not too worried. Playoff wise, like I am 5-2 now, so I don't really have that stranglehold like in terms of record anymore. Like I'm tied with Dan, but at the same time, like I'm not super worried about the last half of the year with any like crazy collapses or anything like that. So yeah. Speaking of Dan, the number 2 game this week was Dan and Parker, which traditionally is one of the better 2 weeks of the season, but it's just been, I mean, we'll start with Parker just because it's been so strange to see him like this season. I mean, he's 4-3, which, I mean, like, that's not bad, but it's his worst start since 2013. This is a team that's primarily come out of the gates firing, and looked very like the best team. And I mean, last year he obviously did what he did and made a case for the best regular season team ever. And now he's, 4-3, 7th in WIB right now, like 7th in WIB. Like Parker has 4 weeks of 0 or 1 for WIB.
Hey.
So it's just like I don't know what to think about his team. I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, 2 weeks ago we were calling him like back, like Parker's back, and now we got 2 sub 125 weeks. I think it was coming out like he traded for Lamar. Lamar puts up 25 and like already solved his David Johnson issue. He's got Lamar and he's got those receivers, but then goes down and one of your receivers is made irrelevant. I know the feeling. And all of a sudden he's putting up 120, and I think the confidence is a little bit shaken in the Cam Udiga camp, according to texts that I've received from multiple sources. Actually, just one source.
What's
Boy.
Yeah,
referring to my team, quote, "At least your team isn't bad."
That is some groundbreaking stuff inside.
Got the sources, and that's a known fact.
Yeah, that's honestly like you don't even want to say it because it doesn't feel like it could be a thing based on what he's done for the last 3 years. But I just don't think I don't think this is the season, like I don't think that this, like him being 4-3, like that is what it is. I just don't think he's going to be able to survive down the stretch, like he loses his first game with Dan. He's going to have another one of those. He's going to have 2 games with me. And honestly, the big 5 teams that are struggling in the record department are not actually struggling that hard in terms of points, especially relative to Parker. Like Carter's actually scoring more than Parker so far this year. He's just 2-5.
Yeah.
That ain't fair. That ain't fair.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like it's just
it's fun. That's why it's fun.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But like, so you have David Johnson go down. Just taking a look back at his season, like week 1, we talked about how huge of a blow it was, but then he gets out to his 4-1 start. You got Gilly, who had like 4 touchdowns the first 2 weeks, and then he gets the Lamar trade, and Lamar pops off. Had just popped off, so you're like, oh, maybe he doesn't need David Johnson. But now these last 2 weeks, kind of. Maybe it does suck to lose the best fantasy player, and maybe it is actually going to cripple his season.
Yeah, and I think when that happened, we kind of all just assumed like, okay, he's going to be able to, weather this. Like this team was unbelievable last year. Like one player can't derail the whole thing, but he made some deals. He got rid of kind of like the heart and soul of his offense in Antonio Brown. And like it wasn't like Hopkins and Adams hadn't been like doing well for him either, but I just think like Antonio's the number 1 scoring receiver right now. So obviously that looks good in the lineup if he would have still had him. And I think that, just there was always questions about the running back position outside of David Johnson. And now with no David Johnson and no LeGarrette Blount, and, like he's kind of just scrapping to get guys into those positions. And now you kind of see like, oh, there's definitely some chinks in this armor.
You know what? This might end up, like you might have to sacrifice this year, but this could end up being good because it's kind of like forced his hand into finally improving that running back depth. Like he gets Lamar Miller, maybe Doug Martin. Who knows with Doug Martin? But yeah, so maybe he'll come back and have some added depth in 2018.
Yeah, I think. This is definitely a wake up call. Like whatever happens this season. For all we know, he could sneak into the playoffs.
Oh,
like you don't have a damn clue what's going to happen. But like, if he does miss the playoffs this season, that's definitely a wake up call for a team that's, you know, coming off of 2 rings and like one of the best statistical seasons ever in the year that he didn't win the ring. So, I mean, he's used to kind of running the show. And for, you know, to go through a season like this now where you kind of get a reality check, like that's probably, I mean, obviously very difficult to like deal with, but yeah, maybe, you know, maybe it's what he needed.
Yeah, it's nice to see him face some adversity for like the first time.
Yeah,
since
drafting Mike Evans.
Yeah. Since that point, yeah.
Yep. Oh man, Parker. Yeah. So you made the remark before that Dan would fight you on the idea that I'm still the best team in Webb. And he may have a point because in the last 5 weeks, he's outscoring everybody else and outliving everybody else.
But it's a 7-week season.
You know, you're not wrong. I mean, you can't necessarily like explain those first 2 weeks, but they also like happened.
Yeah.
And therefore, like that is like something that could happen again. And especially, you know, he's down Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the year. And I mean, obviously the story of this team is his running backs, but you know, you still have question marks in the wide receiver spot. And you know, kind of just like the defense is rock solid, but you know, there's definitely going to be points throughout the second half of the season in which I think Dan, you know, drops a game or two just because guys just don't perform. And I think that's the one thing with this team that, like, it seems like it could be the best team in Webb this year, and it's, you know, obviously like a title-ready team, but at the same time, it's one of those teams that like I could see like all of a sudden just putting up like 120. And, you know, that's always kind of a scary thing. Just, I mean, you get into the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen, but
you can see Dan putting up 120.
I mean, he's done it already this year.
It's happened. It's happened.
And I mean, it's just,
I don't know.
Well, it's just one of those things where like he's rock solid in certain areas and a little bit, you know, not so much in others. And I think that he has been carried in the last, specifically in the last few weeks, by performances by his running backs.
His star power,
it's
Melvin Gordon.
I mean, Melvin Gordon is like back to, you know, scoring all the time and, you know, those types of things. Le'Veon Bell, it looks to be completely like back to being himself. And
Gordon had a down week this week, and I mean, so did AJ Green and Demarius, but his defense and Smith and Bell really carried him.
Yeah, and that is also the forgotten piece, is the fact that if you have that, like, he's got the defense that just provides a foundation.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's getting like at least like 60 points, 60 to 80 points a week just from that section. And it kind of buffers, you know, oh, so Watkins didn't have, you know, he had like 2 catches and Demarius had whatever. And it's just like, it doesn't really matter because you probably outscored the other team's defense by like 30 points. So
I think like at this point, if like we're looking at you and Dan as probably going to win the Big Five. And I'm thinking if I had to put my money on it, I'd pick you. And like you said, like I think you got a little bit less like inconsistency in your lineup than Dan. Like he's got Demarius, who's been not good really fantasy wise. Melvin Gordon, kind of touchdown dependent. Like some weeks he's got 30 points, some weeks he's got 4. And then you got Alex Smith, who is QB1 right now, but also a guy who has had stretches in the past where he is like a guy who all of a sudden struggling to put up like 10 points. So you just never know when he's going to cool down. And yeah, I just a little more questions with this team than I have with yours.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, we're going to, you know, we'll talk about playoffs and stuff later, but just, kind of looking ahead to Dan's second half, I think, obviously this is a team that is well in the driver's seat to get a playoff spot, whether or not that is a wild card spot or another Big Five championship. But yeah, I mean, you can pick apart any team. You can say any team can drop, a 120 out of nowhere because, I mean, even Parker's team did it last season. But yeah, there's some question marks, but I mean, it's honestly mostly just in the spirit of, like trying to find something about this team because I mean, he has looked incredible. Like 175 points a game in the last 5 weeks, 5-0 in that period of time, and he has the ability right now to take control of the Big Five. He's
and the depth is so good. Like bye weeks aren't really going to affect him as much as they would on different team. Just looking at the bench, where you got like Lynch, Kamara, Njoku, Jimmy Graham, CJ Anderson, like bye weeks are kind of like to Dan at this point.
For sure. Dang it.
And your team's a little banged up. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, Big Five is going to be. It's all exciting. Pac-5 has won more games against Big Five this year so far. It's 12-11. So,
what up?
Parity.
Yeah, it's back. I mean, honestly, it's funny because like even the teams that are 1-6, like the two teams that are 1-6, three teams, two teams, whatever, two teams, like. They're not the lowest scoring teams, and like the teams that are 5-2 are like one team that's 5-2 is like 9th in scoring. And it's just like it's so stupid. Let's talk about that team.
Caleb, let's do it. Caleb busy partying on his birthday week to hop on this pod.
I thought he cared about the league, man, but
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's just a careless lack of dedication.
No,
just completely careless. Exactly.
Yeah, man, why
Dave said.
What's stopping us from just taking away his wins?
What do you think about it? What do you think about a strike? I mean,
you get a strike, and you get a strike.
Excuse me, we work by the point system. We're gonna give him 3 points.
We're making the transition to the point system
eventually.
Yeah. So Caleb, first half of the season for Caleb, obviously one of the I'll say stupider things I've ever seen in Webb. The team that for majority of the season was the lowest scoring team in the league. He is now the 9th scoring team in the league.
Only by 6 points.
By a very slim margin. And
I have a stat question. Who is the lowest scoring team? Who is it?
I think it's is it Dave? It's Dave.
Oh no.
You sure about that? I don't know if you read that right.
Honestly, the bottom 4 teams are separated by such a negligible amount of points that it's kind of just a cluster. But
we got 6 teams all in the 900s.
Yeah.
But yeah. See, not that bad.
Oh my god! I wanted to have Dave and Josh on so bad.
That would have been great
because we just made fun of them so much in the last 2 years, and I really wanted them to get a chance to yell at us.
Make fun of us.
It'll happen.
It will.
We'll get Josh around.
God, I can't wait to talk about Josh's game because I'm just gonna talk about how much I love him as a human. But we are on Josh's game. He played Caleb. Oh, screw you, Caleb. I don't care.
Let's just skip Caleb. You know what's funny? Before this week, Caleb hadn't known what it was like to score over 130 points since week 1.
Yeah. Caleb,
stretch.
Caleb, I mean, it's honestly just ridiculous. And the fact that, he has this stretch and he does not have Amari Cooper. Like Amari Cooper does not exist in that. And that's, I mean, obviously one of his premier like point total players from previous seasons. And I mean, this week he gets it going. Really gets it going. And now you see Caleb jump into the 160s, posting an 8 WIB. And I mean, he posted an 8 WIB this week, and he's still last in WIB. So let that speak for itself.
5-2.
Oh man.
But
You know what's even more amazing is like looking at his defensive ranks. Like he has a good defense. I don't know what he's ranked overall. Like I'm like seeing Mosley like 5th ranked, 3rd ranked linebacker, or Kirksley 5th ranked.
I don't have
safety.
I don't have this week in. But as of week 6, Caleb was last in defensive scoring.
Interesting.
So yeah, I don't know. He wasn't good. He just was not statistically good at all. But he
give it to him this week though. I mean, 165.
Yeah.
I mean,
and this was definitely the performance that he needed to see heading into the second half of the year, because now all of the, am I really a contender? Am I supposed to be a buyer right now? Like he kind of gets to go into this half saying like, all right, like I can do this.
He's got a blank slate. It's 5-2. Like he can pretend, as much as we rip on him, he can pretend it never existed.
Yeah. And I mean, he can literally just start right now. I have 5 wins. 4 more realistically probably puts him right in the playoff spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about playoffs for Caleb. Like, I don't know if that's a real thing. Like right now, if the season were to end, yes, Caleb would be in the playoffs as the 9th scoring team. But I just don't know what to expect, because I don't know what team we're going to see in the second half. Are we going to see more of this, 130, 125 per game, or is he going to get his guys to turn it on a little bit?
If he can make some moves at the deadline, which I don't know, Caleb's not a big trade guy at all. But if he were, let's say, make a trade, maybe for a running back probably would be his.
Maybe a Saints running back.
Maybe a Saints running back might help him out a little bit.
27-year-old
Saints running back.
Is he that young?
Is that 27? Guys, Mark Ingram's 27.
Goodness. Wow. What a fresh young running back.
Not a lot of tread on those tires.
Dude, I love how 2 years ago Ingram was 35. and he was 20 and he was 25.
Now he's a young 27.
Yeah.
Yeah. But looking at the schedule for Caleb, obviously Brock this week and me next week, so tough stretch there. But then Josh, Calvin, me again. I mean, definitely doable.
At least 2 L's there.
He has. He
ends the season with Brock and Tim. So,
and that is the thing too. Like the
schedule making, beautiful.
The Pac-5, like, I mean, you almost want to say like, okay, a team that has Dave and Josh 4 times has a better chance than a team that has Carter and Kelvin 2 times, which have traditionally kind of been like that level. I'm sometimes in there instead of Kelvin, but I think that like this season it's just all out the window. Like games against 1-6 Kelvin or games against 1-6 Josh are not games that you can go into saying like I should win this and it shouldn't be a problem.
Like you're gonna want to put up 150 points just to be safe usually, because those teams are capable of like 140s, and in past years, some of those worst teams where they would struggle to get anything out of the 120s. Like, this is a different year.
Right. And I mean, the stats tell the story. Like, Caleb is scoring less points than a Calvin or less points than a Josh. Like, that is just what it is right now. But like I said, like, if it's almost impossible to even formulate any kind of prediction for this team in the second half, just because of how strange it's been and how consistently strange it's been. Like, Caleb could realistically just like stop winning at any time. You know?
Yeah, if he keeps up how he's been playing, like, you would actually expect it to come.
Yeah. Like, you could look at like a 1-6 second half based on the level that he's been at, and it wouldn't even like surprise you. But
Pretty sure it was 2014 when I had a 5-2 start and finished 6-8.
Yeah.
So
let's not forget that too. Like, 5-2
It
seems
could happen.
very like rock solid, but it has happened. Dave knows firsthand that you can still miss the playoffs with 5 wins at this point of the season. So
don't get cocky, Caleb. Don't get cocky, young lad.
This kid needs a running back, man. Like,
yeah.
Tymont gets his job taken. Crowell, I don't even know. Mixon, like, he's getting the majority. Like, fantasy-wise, it's just not happening yet. Yeah. Someone get CalebRunningback.com.
I know he's in the market. He's talked to me. I think he's talked to you, Dave.
Yeah, he might have.
So I mean, he's been working it, but apparently Jerick McKinnon is not a relevant player. So you know what, Caleb? Take your trading block and shove it up your ass.
He must be a Latavius guy. I better talk to him.
Literally, kid puts up back-to-back 20-point games, and then Latavius has like one big touchdown run and has more points, and then it doesn't even matter. Jerick McKinnon like could have just fell off the face of the earth. It doesn't matter, okay?
Doesn't matter.
The point here is that I love Josh, and he lost this week.
I love Josh.
But instead of talking about Josh losing and making this negative, like we have for 6 out of the 7 weeks for Josh, let's talk about how great Josh is as a human.
Unbelievable, man.
What a man.
Wow.
I respect him so hard.
Like, kid got married last weekend, and he still, still goes out there, still sets the lineup on Sunday morning, and still, puts up 144 points. His second highest output of the season. What what tenacity from this kid.
Oh,
just not fazed by anything.
Oh man. Yeah.
What would Katie say though if she saw this man's team name?
You think she's had to have seen it.
She knows his team name, guaranteed.
Oh man, it's just sometimes I feel like
You're in the Hooper. What does that mean?
That's weird.
Hooper, pooper. Oh.
So, I don't want to turn it back to the negative side, but I do want to say that history has been made this season for Josh. This is Josh's worst start ever, record-wise.
Oh no!
So fun fact about it's former Pac-5 champion. People forget.
This is a former Pac-5 champion. You're right.
Former Pac-5 champion. And
me and Josh, we have a bond on that Pac-5 champion club.
You're the only two.
No Tim's allowed.
You and Josh have a brotherhood. But so
I want to be in that brotherhood.
Oh
man.
You should see it. We got like soda machines and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Free beer on tap.
You know, sometimes
IPAs if you want
winning
them.
a conference championship is just about destiny.
Oh my gosh. How long did it take?
What if
Can we
wait,
think
what if
What do you get-
about destiny?
What are you
if you
guys
win-
talking about? I just made a comment.
what if what if you win 2 conference champions? Would you then call it double destiny?
You may 3, in fact, as you would know,
That's
you may even
triple,
refer to as
triple
triple
destiny.
destiny. Huh? I've
Hmm.
never heard that before.
Yeah,
Somebody should
that
like
feels
make that a
familiar, but I
hashtag.
don't think
Add
I
another
don't think
random
you read it.
destiny.
What would that other destiny be?
That would be quadruple
Oh
destiny.
my!
Put a hashtag in front of it. Somebody's got to do it. I've never heard this before, but
Do it. You won't.
it's
Do it.
oh man, oh, I had to do it. Oh, love you guys. So yeah, Josh, stand-up individual, married man, first married man of Webb. Ooh, big honor.
It's big.
First one to actually have a ring.
A
So
real ring. Yeah.
who's really the winner here? Is it you, Brock? You know, do you have a ring?
I don't. I have a belt.
It's
Pretty
it's not as
shiny.
cool, man. Nobody says they got their belt. It's all about how many rings.
You're right.
No, actually, I hate you for having that belt. I need it so bad. But yeah, all right. Love Josh. Okay, so
Aaron Jones.
Aaron,
Aaron Jones, good
Hey,
player.
hey,
Yeah.
I forgot. If Josh were to get Saquon Barkley, look out. Because I can tell you firsthand what a nice little running back can do to the lineup.
Yeah, if he gets like Dez and Keenan too, then
Stop. He has Chris Hogan.
I mean, he's got Hogan, so he's got his cornerstone receiver for the next 5 years locked in.
Cornerstone, Devontae Parker, Cornerstone.
Amir Abdullah.
Hogan has the crazy eyes, man.
He does. It scares me.
Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
I can't look
Marvin
away.
Jones. Spencer Ware coming back from injury.
Probably gonna take 3 months job back. But
Hey, you guys played each other this week. How did
Me,
that
Dave?
go?
it destroyed him like I said I would.
Oh, well,
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, on our way to the bus, man.
I want to play a game with you guys. Okay, ready?
That's the game. Yeah.
The game is how many week lows does Dave have in his team history?
It's got to be 10 plus.
Brock says 10 plus. Dave?
I'm gonna go 7.
7.
Yep.
It's 7, isn't it? I can tell by
This
your face
week.
that it's 7.
This week, in the 5th year of Webb, Dave earned his 3rd
Wow.
week low.
Yep, that's right. Not that bad.
Kid has avoided the red squares.
Mm.
And
It's just I underestimated Dave. It's just
Yeah,
one of
10
many.
Like always, Brock. I like that stat. I like that. Keep those coming.
I will, man.
Yeah.
Anything for you. There was something else though that I'm gonna make Brock happy now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dave and Brock, the all-time matchup.
Don't.
How many wins do you have against Dave, Brock?
See, we've played twice a year,
I will say this: you've played 9 times.
9 times.
9 times.
8. I don't remember.
We have an 8, and we have
7.
a 7. 8-1.
Wow.
8-1. So, Yeah, 8th one this week comes on the strength of a Brock 150 performance, which equated to a 5 WIB. Solid week from you, Brock. And
another day at the office.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is the Midseason podcast. We're talking about the season as it is and what it's going to be. And the one wrench in this entire season is you, because you are currently not sitting in a playoff spot.
That's true.
But you are within that top 3 tier of the league pretty handily, like 17 points a game above Tim. So when is it going to happen?
Well, I play the team that's been kind of making me angry this week. The team that's keeping me out of the playoffs, that scored about 200 less points than me. It's around there. I don't know the exact stat.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So I play him this week. Not a great week for it because I got kind of ravaged by buys here and injuries in a little bit, and Martavis's weird social media presence. So I got no Gurley, no Doherty, but I think this is the week. Made the trade alert, trade news.
Trade alert.
Made the trade this week. Was partially pressured into it by Caleb himself and my lack of running backs this week. And yeah, we got McCoy.
Hey, Brock, what would you say McCoy's chill to pull ratio is?
I'd say it's probably 5 to 5.
A 5 to 5.
5 to
5 to 5, yeah.
Is this the same McCoy that fucked my mom?
Yeah.
I want to make that guy my team mascot so bad.
McCoy fucked my mom. But yeah, really excited about the starting lineup. Once we get back into non-buys, like I got a ton of them out of the way this week, so hopefully we can sneak out a W. But yeah, the starting lineup, once we get those people back, compared to Caleb's, I'm not worried.
Yeah, I think this is a big game because this is your chance to finally just say enough's enough. You know,
stop
it. Also a little bit over Caleb.
Yeah.
Put him in his place.
It's like Caleb's been what he's been so far this season, but he also has not had to face you yet. So I mean, it's a big chance, you know, even the record's up and make that transition to getting into the playoff spot. So, yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, I'm going to predict that you make playoffs this season because it would be unjust if you didn't. So it's just, I think it's just a matter of time.
Give me Brock to take the Pac-5. I
think he's going to hang his fourth consecutive banner, a feat that has never been seen in web.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, meanwhile, like Caleb's team, like I hate it this year with how stupid lucky it's been. But this is just, he's the smaller fish to fry. Can't let Tim win the Pac-5. Caleb wants to go win the Pac-5. I'd be not happy because I didn't win, but if Tim wins the Pac-5, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be going grocery shopping at 3 a.m. to get over that one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Caleb does have 10 points out of Justin Tucker as kicker already.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
shit. Oh no. Don't do it to him.
Oh.
Where's Buck Allen?
Sorry.
Buck Allen, please.
All right.
Buck Allen.
All right. So, Dave, you're here.
Yeah.
You're in the flesh.
Absolutely.
I want you to talk to me about your team.
Let's talk about the boys. Well, I mean, face of my franchise, Christian McCaffrey, hasn't been producing like
I thought the whole point of the boys was that everyone is one.
We're getting a little individual here. Obviously, we're all one. Everybody knows that. It's about the team.
I mean, Dave has the jersey,
yep.
So
Jersey's
clearly
on.
There's some type of favoritism.
I wear it probably 3 times a week. Until I get a T-shirt with everybody on my.
Dude,
yes, it's gonna happen.
I need that more than anything in the world.
Oh.
I need a T-shirt, a green T-shirt with a money symbol on the front and Travis Kelce's name on the back.
Oh. McCaffrey, Jason Witten, Adam Thielen, and Drew Brees all on my chest.
Just a shirt that says "The Boys" and a bunch of white people are standing there.
But, anyways, really, really down week. I didn't expect to be, contender, playoff hopeful at all. But Terrell Pryor's been very disappointing.
Because job stolen by Josh Doxson.
Yeah, it's looking that way. But losing Edelman. But I don't know. I like where I'm going. Obviously, I don't think I'm terrible by any means, but I'll hang. I'll be there.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing is, you're last in scoring, 9th in WIB. However, 3 and 4 right now. And if the season does go off the rails in the second half, you have the comfort in knowing 2 things. Mm-hmm. One, you have your own draft pick this year. So however that ends up, you will have it. Mm-hmm. And you have Tim's draft pick this year.
Yeah, got 2 firsts.
And Tim might get de-zeked.
And
you never know.
Yeah. Tim could potentially all of a sudden slip into the middle of the first round. And then you got 2 potentially top 5 picks this year.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I
still got OJ Howard waiting in the wings. Had a bust out week this week.
I do like the core.
Hopefully that can shore up my tight end trouble.
I said this after the draft, but I think that this team is on the up and up, and another year of some high draft picks.
Yeah.
Might be in for a little surprise next year in the Pac-5.
For the boys in the future, I'm telling you. We got a good thing going in that locker room, boys. We're building up some team camaraderie. Everybody's close, tight-knit group.
There has never been a team that could be questioned less for leadership than your team.
No,
the locker room has always been number 1.
We got no drugs, nobody beating up women. We got some high-character individuals in that locker room.
That's what it's all about.
Someone here has to have done drugs. I'm going to do a little research tonight.
Yeah, you do that. See what you find. I'm telling you what.
Clean as a whistle.
Yeah. Yep. He actually did the right thing in that situation.
So no drugs currently.
All right. Last game of week 7. The game that was billed as the Saquon Barkley midseason championship game. Carter's team, man.
Gosh, Carter.
The kid is having himself a decent year, and he is 2-5.
Yeah, we said that about this squad. Like, it's a good team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
fortunate.
6th in scoring, isn't great, obviously, but it's
doesn't warrant a 2-5 record.
Right. He came into the year with a lot of young talent, and he had kind of rebuilt the team from the remnants of the previous owner. And now, he's kind of like, I mean, he's had his down weeks. You know, he is the only team this season to have a sub 100 game, but at the same time, he's been right about in that 140, 150 range every single week. Playing at the level of a 7-7 team right now, and is 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to bring it up because every time we talk about Carter, I remember that Tim has his first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Tim, I think I go on this rant every week on the podcast. But the fact that Tim has at least a reasonable chance at winning the championship and getting Saquon Barkley makes me want to die.
It's awful.
Carter's not going to let it happen. I'm telling you what, that kid's got some grit. He's a fighter.
Yeah, this week was a good example of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what this team's going to be in the second half. Is that like pester, like that that team that just will not let you like skate away with a win against him. And you know, I think he'll finish, you know, I don't know, 5-8.
5-9, 6-8.
Yeah, 5-9.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. But yeah, definitely not. I mean, I don't really think that there's a realistic chance that he could actually end up giving Tim the number 1 overall pick out of this. Yeah. But Kelvin, on the other hand, I think does have a realistic chance at getting the number 1 overall pick. It's 1-7 or 1-6, and what's honestly hilarious though is we just got done saying that Carter's kind of like sneaky good and like might be like 5-9 and all this. Calvin is 5th in scoring.
Yeah,
so it's actually better than all of the other teams that are worse than him. Or
he's almost like getting forced into a rebuild a little bit.
Yeah,
with his unluckiness.
Yeah, like I mean, he like we said, I mean the point differentials are very like slight at this point, but at the same time, like you got the top 3, and then you got a Tim at 141, and then you got Calvin at 139. Yeah, and he's 1-6. And I mean, I think he's making the right decisions right now in trading LeSean McCoy, and you know, even trading like the Andrew Luck trade was something that I think was just really unexpected. Like he clearly has a quarterback of the future in Wentz, face of the team. And I mean, getting a 2nd round pick like is never a bad thing. But I just thought it was kind of interesting timing with Luck being hurt and the things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, the kid's getting some draft picks, and that's really what he needs at this point.
Yeah.
So now he's got 2 firsts this year. Potentially the number 1 overall first, and then 2 seconds. So
it's a team that could be set up for maybe a nice like quick rebuild, a little bit like your team last year. Probably a little bit worse from a running back standpoint right now. It's not great.
Yeah,
but he's got like wide receivers in place. Like Brandon Cooks is having a really good year. Aguilar's back.
Yeah, Aguilar's resurgence. Yeah, he's going to need that.
Emmanuel Sanders, not doing great this year, but been banged up. Yeah. All of a sudden, if he does manage to get Saquon Barkley and Barkley comes and lights the world on fire, Zeke style, team could be right back in the thick of things.
I mean, he was in the title game last season, and it's not like he's having a terrible year this year statistically. It's just he hasn't been able to win games.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, maybe a few more people that he could maybe sell off. Maybe like a Geo. Geo. I couldn't say that and get through that without laughing. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about all the times he's traded.
It's
And he's treated like the freak of nature, like, oh, Gio.
Yeah, and Tavon.
yeah.
Him and Tavon.
Years of the league, like what was like Gio Bernard was always like this is the one, and then eventually it got to the point where I didn't even want him anymore. That's how you know it's bad. Not even bad. It's not like he has like bad years. It's just not.
Everyone, I don't know what. Like we were all pretty dumb. It's like, what was Gio ever gonna? What was Gio ever gonna be other than like what he is? Like he helps the offense, like catches passes. Like
That's pretty much
sounds
it.
a lot like Christian McCaffrey.
Don't say it. Nothing like Gio.
Sorry.
Wow.
Oh man,
We're gonna have to talk. Bro.
I just made the catching passes connection.
oh yeah, like Theo Riddick. Yeah,
Kind of.
very
Oh, yeah.
McCaffrey-esque.
Theo Riddick was on the waiver wire.
I had to drop him. It was a sad day in my franchise, but
Theo Riddick, you could have dropped someone else.
Shut up. Come on. Well, I can't drop that, Rob. Wait, yeah, I can. All right, so that's the first half of 2017, which
it's been interesting.
Without a doubt, been the weirdest year in web history. Thus, the hashtag Keep It Weird. And I think that now is a good time for us to do some mid-season awards. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I wish we had a nice music intro for this.
I mean, I can make that happen, you know.
Do it.
All right, I will. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it right after the part when I said I will. And then it's going to start like.
Okay.
All right.
I believe you. It's the first annual Webbies.
The Webbies.
The Webbies.
Midseason Webbies. So, okay. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to do 4 awards. We're going to do MVP. We're going to do most disappointing. We're going to do biggest surprise. And we're going to do most likely turnaround. Both for a player's standpoint and a team owner standpoint. So, start with the big boy, MVP. Who has been your web.com team MVP so far? Owner.
So team owner. Oh man. Shit. I'm gonna have to go with. I can't say this. I'm gonna pick Tim.
I know that was hard for you.
That's a tell.
Because he made he's in playoff position, and he made a savvy trade where he also has an early pick. And we don't have much to work with so far this year to make a call like this, so that's good enough for me that I'm picking him.
Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. 5-2, had some adversity.
Yeah.
But how about you, Dave?
Well, I mean, Tim's definitely up there. Dan's up there too. I'm gonna go with Korf as my MVP. He's been the most consistent. Started off hot, especially after last year. I mean, who would have thought that he'd be leading the league in that 5-2? I mean, yeah, that's who I'm going with.
Thanks, man.
You bet, man. Yeah.
Can I change my pick?
No.
I picked Korf too. I picked Korf too.
No, you picked him. You picked him.
You have to live with your choices.
Oh no.
All right. this is interesting. 3 picks, 3 different MVPs, kind of telling of the season. My MVP is you, baby. Austin Brock.
Me? Oh,
Yes.
Sorry, Dave.
Yes.
Here's my reasoning for picking Brock
Webby.
as the MVP.
I got a Webby.
You got a Webby.
Yeah.
So, Brock, you came into the season with 2 things. A loaded team and a championship belt. And what you've done from that point is make a trade for Antonio Brown, which is like an unprecedentedly large trade to get a player like that.
best receiver in the league.
And make your team that much better and that much more scary. And the reason that I'm giving you the MVP is because, you know, you're struggling with some unfortunate events. And you're just really taking it like a champ. And, you know, you're not letting it get you down. And I think we're going to see some special things from Brock in the second half. You ready for that? You ready to be special?
I think so.
I really believe that you, like Dave said, are going to win the Pac-5 after all of this BS. And
It is BS. You're right.
it's
What BS?
come on, man. Brady, Gurley, Antonio Brown, and Gronk are all on the same team.
That's disgusting.
It's stupid.
Ugh,
It's literally stupid.
how can we let that happen?
Forgot Julio.
Rock draft.
I forgot Julio and McCoy.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
just like you
McCoy.
forget players like that because it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, oh, who's this wide receiver too? Wait, it's Julio Jones, right? Right.
Right.
All right. How about most disappointing? It's kind
Wait.
of a sad one.
Yeah.
I want to announce that Josh Doxson is officially making his DW David Wilson
DM.
debut.
WDM.
Nice job, man.
Thanks.
You can still trade him to me. You know, it's okay.
This is the week. He's coming out.
All right. Most disappointing.
Another tough one. Can I pick Caleb even though he's 5-2?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm doing it because got lucky, but this team with all the hype that it had going in with Montgomery, Cooper, just a ton of shitting the bed.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Yeah. I think that's definitely fair. I mean, he is 5-2, like you said, but you know, nobody expected this team to be like the lowest scoring team in the league. Like people are picking them as potentially playoff team, like in the right kind of way, not in this like ass backwards kind of way.
Mhm.
So yeah, I could see that prediction or that award.
yeah, it's just like everyone is underperforming basically except for like Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave.
Yeah. This was a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Parker.
Another good one.
Just, I mean, it's not really disappointing, but just unfortunate losing DJ and all that stuff. But should be better than what he's been. And I don't know.
Yeah, I am also going to pick
Going
Parker.
with Parker.
He, you know, it's a mix of bad luck and like some lack of depth catching up with him. I think is what has happened, and you kind of, you know, like you feel a little bit bad for him just because it's such a fall from grace. But at the same time, I play in the Big Five, and I don't feel bad at all. You know what, Parker? I'm sick of your
I don't
shit.
really feel bad either.
Yeah,
So yeah, Parker for me.
Parker. My second choice was Carter. I was really thinking Carter was going to have a good year too.
Yeah,
You
same.
know, going into it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. How about the biggest surprise?
Surprise.
This is just kind of like in general. Like, which team has just surprised you?
I think your ascent to the top of the league definitely surprised me. Like you came out hot. I thought like you were gonna drop back down probably into that playoff edge position, but you're right up at the top. Yet, like we already talked about it, but hitting on those running backs and they've all like flown out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of a sudden you got once Dalvin's back, you got 3 of the best young running backs in the game. All of a sudden,
3 of the top 4. 3 of the top 4. Don't forget.
who's the other one?
I don't know either. What, Tariq Cohen? Is that?
Joe Mixon.
Right. I'll take that. I will take that, Brock. Dave?
Similar story. I was also going to go with you. Going into the year, I thought you'd be kind of middle of the road, but man, all those young backs and stuff you got going on was surprising to me. Other than that, kind of a different angle to it, I'm pretty surprised about Calvin being 1-6.
Yeah.
That's a surprise to me. I definitely didn't see that coming. But
yeah, I don't know. This is a hard one because I feel like it has been such a surprising season in general. Honestly, I think my biggest surprise is Tim. I think that my rationale behind that is that if you remember the preseason show or maybe the week 1 show, I was like essentially sucking Tim's genitals, saying that I loved this team, and I thought that he was the pack. I was calling him the Pac-5, the favorite for the season, and it's just been a weird, surprising kind of year. 5-2, but like he hasn't played up to the level that you would have expected a team that had Zeke, Devonta Freeman, and Odell got hurt. But even then, like he makes a huge trade for Tyreek Hill and Michael Crabtree. Like he's continually bringing pieces into the lineup, and it's just like not really happening yet. Kind of like this week was the first one, so. Yeah, I'm going to go with Tim. I'll give Tim an award.
Fine, you do that.
And then most likely to turn it around.
Most likely to turn it around. I'm going to go with... Oh no. Go with Carter. This one's sticking... Maybe not turn around into the playoffs, but turn around as in maybe pick up, maybe go like 4-3 down the stretch here.
Yeah.
Maybe get back to 7-7, 6-8, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my pick.
Yeah, I'm going with Carter too.
Yeah.
I don't really see Calvin, myself, Josh really turning around that much more than Carter would. So, or Parker for that matter.
Yeah, for me it comes down to Carter and Parker, and I think that I don't know why, but I have more faith in Carter's ability to right this ship to like a 6-8 like respectable record than I have for Parker to like, make the playoffs, honestly, at this point. Which I don't really know what that says, but I like Carter's team. I just like his team, and he doesn't even have Allen Robinson right now.
Good point.
And that's just like another thing to think about for next year with him. But
what does he got for picks next year?
Well, he doesn't have his first now.
Oh.
But he has. Let's see. Yeah, he's got his second. That'll be his first pick, and he's got 2/3. So
Okay.
all right. Well, do we want to do players?
Yeah, we could rip through some quick.
Okay, let's just do just do a real quick little lightning round player awards.
MVP.
Yeah, fantasy MVP.
MVP from a web standpoint.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I agree.
Kareem.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even be close to where I was without him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Fournette too.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, maybe I'll pick Leonard just to put some hardware on his shelf.
Webby.
Most disappointing.
Disappointing player. I have to pick someone from my own squad here. I'm gonna go Martavis Bryant.
How can you not see that coming? Look at that guy.
He was electric when he's electric when he's been in. Like, I don't like, maybe he's a little immature. I thought he was gonna come back and maybe stop. Like, he hasn't gotten in trouble for weed yet, if that's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that coming, and it hasn't come. But
he's not a team guy. He's a me guy. Obviously, he's complaining about not getting the football. That's
maybe if he was better than Juju.
Dave, maybe next time shoot me a text before the season starts, and I'll trade the person that you tell me is not going to be good. You should have told me Martavis was going to erupt into this social media complaining little whiner guy.
Yeah.
Could have traded him.
He is making himself very unlikable.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dave.
Yeah, if we're going guys on our teams, I'll just say Pryor's been really, really disappointing. He has 28 total points this year.
That is honestly,
and he was going to be a number one option in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
also disappointed by Christian McCaffrey's ability to run between the tackles.
You be quiet over there.
What happened?
There's literally nowhere for him to run. Nowhere for him to run. How's Jonathan Stewart doing? It's worse. They got to give him the ball.
That's not a good argument.
Dump it off to him. You watch the Panthers play. I watch every one of their games. There's nowhere for him to run.
I love Dave's dedication.
It's a whole field out there. Actually, no, I made it between the tackles, so there's not a whole field.
Gorf?
All right. Most disappointing for me, which I feel like it's almost too obvious that I don't even want to say it, but Amari Cooper.
Oh.
It is, speaks for itself. Kid was supposed to be a top 10 dynasty player. Caleb had Michael Thomas, Amari Cooper, Alshon Jeffrey, looks like a rock solid wide receiver core. And Murray was not even startable for most of the season. So,
yeah.
Biggest surprise. This is always a fun one. Mm-hmm. Take this at multiple angles.
Surprise. I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson lighting NFL on fire.
Yeah.
To the tune of 25 points a game or whatever it is.
Quarterback of the future. Hopefully not Nick Foles style.
Yeah.
I just totally forgot about Nick Foles.
Nick Foles was once the face of my team.
Do you know he once had a 27-4 touchdown interception ratio?
I did know that. It was awesome. Dave.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tough one.
It is. It is tough. Hunt's obviously a pretty big surprise doing what he's doing, but I'm going with Chris Thompson.
Yeah.
And shout out to Josh. Buddy's pretty electric out of the backfield there for the Redskins. So
not only
Did not see that coming. I thought it was going to be a Fat Rob Samaje P. Ryan show to start. And
well, that's the
Yeah.
I think that is what, like I was gonna pick Chris Thompson as well.
Ooh.
Because I think like as a Fat Rob owner, I thought that I had like a solid like depth running back, and Chris Thompson has literally just made him irrelevant. And like P. Ryan hasn't really gotten involved
he's the
all that
seventh
much
scoring
yet.
running back right now.
Yeah. Obviously you could say like Chris Hogan as well.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
just, you know, that whole aspect of like Josh having two of the players that have literally just exploded.
Mm-hmm.
So
Alex Smith too. Like
Alex Smith
being the top scoring fantasy player, quarterback.
That's very true as well.
Hmm.
And then most likely to turn the ship around.
I'm going to segue off another one and say Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what was wrong with him. I don't think anybody really knows, but he flashed last week, and I think he's going to end the year kind of right back where his value was going into it. I think he's going to rebound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dave?
Good one. This is a tough one. Boy. I don't know. McCaffrey.
Oh my god, I love it.
I mean Cooper too. I mean he's not gonna have the same.
You'll mind.
Yeah. No. Look out, McCaffrey double digits every week. Let's go.
Double digit points. I was gonna be like double digit what? Rushing yards.
Oh man. God, man, this is a tough one. There's a lot of like things you can say. I feel like
I have a backup one if you want to use it.
okay, who's that?
I was gonna say Joe Mixon. He's getting the workload. Eventually, he's got a breakthrough. It's too good.
Yeah, I'm like part of me honestly like wants to say like a Demaryius Thomas just because of how like not good it has been, like a outside of the top 50. And I feel like we kind of all said like he was gonna disappoint a little bit this year, but like not like this, you know. You thought you'd have like a wide receiver 3 at least. But I think yeah. Wow, Calvin is starting Theo Riddick. Wow, now I'm sad. Come on, Calvin. Why you gotta do it to me?
Sniped you.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll go with DT. All right. So to wrap it up, we got 7 games to go, boys, but who are we gonna have in the playoffs and who's gonna be wearing that belt at the end of the year?
Wire.
Let me pull up the playoff bracket here. Get a visual. Let's see. I think I'm going to take my 1 seed is going to be the Moneymakers. They're going to bring it home at, say, 10-4 with the most points. I'm going to go 2 seed from the Pac 5. Myself.
Ooh,
I think I'm going to finish.
1-2. Conspiracy.
I think I'm going to finish. I'm going to go 10-4. I'm going to be optimistic here. 3 seed. I'm going to go Dan. He probably might finish 10-4 as well. First wild card. I'm going to take Corf to get the points edge on him though. So, and 4 seed. This one's tough. I'm going to say that Zeke gets suspended following this week, and that Parker beats Tim in the last week to pass him.
Wow.
And Tim misses the playoffs.
All right.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Dan with my 1 seed. I think he's just gonna keep tearing it up, and I'll put him at 11-3. 2 seeds gonna be Brock, 10-4. Then my 3 seed's gonna be the money makers.
Let's ride.
Probably at 10-4 too. And then give me Tim. Tim will make it. Tim will make it. He's my 4.
All right. All right. I'm gonna say. Let me just pull this up real quick. Damn. I'm picking Moneymakers win with their first Big 5 championship.
Yes.
1 seed. I'll say it. I will say it. 2 seed Brock. Honestly, oh God, I want to pick you as the 1 seed, man. I love you.
You're the 1 seed.
You're the 1 seed.
Stop.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say 11-3 for my team. 6-1 down the stretch, and I'll say 10-4 for Brock. And I'll say 10-4. No. I'll say 10-4 for Dan. And 4th seed.
Tiebreaker. Or do you want dark horse Caleb on us?
I can't.
No, yeah.
I can't do it, man. Tim. Yeah. Me, you, Dan, Tim. When it's all said and done, we're gonna have a Mingo and Brock championship game. And you're gonna keep that belt for 1 more year, man.
No, you should win.
No, you should win. Yeah, I'm picking Brock for another year with the belt.
I'm going to pick me to win the first game and Corf. But then you should win. You should have the belt.
Love you, God. Dave, gonna break up this circle jerk.
Yeah, I'm going Brock and Dan in the ship, but I am gonna take Brock to win it all again.
Dude, if you get that belt for another year, man, you're gonna by the end of the 2nd year, you're gonna start to forget how special it is.
Yeah.
And then when you lose it the next year, you're gonna be like, wow, I can't believe I don't have this anymore. It's gonna be devastating.
You know what? I don't think so, because I'm going to be able to present it to a worthy champion.
Shut up. Dude, if I ever get that belt, the day that I have to hand it over to somebody else, I might actually cry. And shove Caleb into a couch.
But it's going to be a super beautiful moment for whoever it is.
I really liked when you won it last year and I hugged you. I liked that a lot.
And we gave speech.
Dude, we need to always do that from now on.
It's gonna be a tradition.
Present the belt, give a speech.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we have a web bust up party every year.
Yes. Oh man. Well, this was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We got 7 games to go, folks. A lot can happen in 7 weeks.
Absolutely.
It's gonna go
Injuries,
fast.
trades, anything.
A lot of trades.
Yeah.
A lot of trades.
There's definitely this deadline, I think, is going to be crazy. So, all right.
I believe update deadline is November 8th. I saw.
Okay. No, that's week 10?
It's pre-week 10.
Like the Thursday that week 10 starts?
Yes.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dave,
Yeah.
thanks for coming on,
You
man.
know, it was great to be on my first web.com podcast.
Yeah, it's great to
That's
have
not-
you on the
That's
show.
not true, is it? That's not true.
We
He was on-
interviewed him once. We interviewed.
Yeah.
Well,
It was an
He got
electric
to sit in
interview.
the- He got to sit in the third chair.
sitting
Okay. You got to host.
Yeah,
right.
it's nice. I liked it.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, let's ride this baby out. Finish 2017 in a weird fashion.
Let's keep it weird, don't you?
Hashtag keep it weird.
Keep it weird.
Let's not forget week 8 starts tonight. So let's make it a great week 8.